Hi, this is Alken. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about a subway line that no longer exists, and for good reason. Now, back in 1996, New York City Transit started a pilot program called OPTO. That's one-person train operation, where the conductor was removed and the motorman did all the work, operated the train, and opened the doors. Despite what the MTA and New York City Transit said, it was a successful program, and also had Rudy Giuliani had his hands in this thing. One of the lines was not very successful and flopped. We're talking about a line that used to be called the B West End Shuttle. It operated, like I said, from 1996 until 2004. It was a 4-car train, 68 A's, one motorman, of course, no conductor. Ran from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning. And unfortunately for the poor guy, after making so many trips between 1 and 5 at night, he had to take one more last trip all the way up to 168th Street. I don't know how people managed to do that. But you're wondering, why did this line fail? Well, unfortunately, at the time, since the B was running the shuttle, at that same time, the R train was only going as far as either 36th Street or Atlantic Avenue, leaving the N train as the only train on 4th Avenue running to Manhattan. The problem was, how often does the N train run? If there was a problem, they can't use the B train for Manhattan, and they couldn't use the R. So, if the R had to be used, it would already go up to Whitehall Street. But the B train, being as a 4-car train with no conductor, cannot go into Manhattan. It's one of those OPTO rules. So, as a result, if you are on 4th Avenue and the N train goes down, you're screwed. You're stuck there. So unfortunately, because the N line problems became problems for the B. And eventually management started to stop using the West End Shuttle OPTO line and extending it to Atlantic. But basically, it was doomed. And of course, to make matters worse, it was in 2004 when they made the announcement that Manhattan Bridge was coming back into full service after many, many decades of repairs. And not only made the announcement that the bridge was coming back in full service, but they made a change. Now the D train will be running over the West End line full-time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The B train will now be running over the Brighton line as a temporary service. Weekday service, morning, evening rush hour, and then off to bed. So, in the end, it worked out better for the B and the crews and the people on 4th Avenue. Who didn't benefit at all was the people who were making money on the OPTO on the B West End line. So this was the first line to ever be eliminated on the OPTO program. So yes, it was a flop. Recounting what went wrong, once again, because the B was running from Stillwell to 36, Sunset Atlantic, and the R train was doing about the same thing. And the N train was, when they're having problems, there would be no service, doomed the B West End Shuttle and the OPTO program on that line. So today you're not going to find barely anything to do with the OPTO on that line. Majority of the OPTO signs have been gone. So will they try to bring it back? Doubt it. It was a huge flop. Other lines that they claimed that they had success, well, not exactly. Despite what they said about the successful how OPTO is, the reality is it's still a flop. Because the goal of the OPTO was to have all the trains running with no conductors. Originally, it had been short trains, but the long-term goal was to have a full-length train without conductors. And unfortunately for them, the attempts to do that has failed miserably. The L train did have a full-length train with no conductors at one time, but thanks to arbitration, that service was eliminated. And attempts to put in a contract have failed miserably. So instead of having the L and 7 running OPTO, they're running normal service with the conductors on board. And the Rockaway Park Shuttle was supposed to be another line with no conductors. Well, they don't have conductors when it's non-peak. But when there's beach crowd, the trains are running normal with conductors. And of course, the G line was the other failure of OPTO. The line was supposed to run 24 hours without a conductor. In fact, to speed up the process, they changed equipment from the 46s to the 68As, terminated at Queens at the Court Square, so the train would be on the BNT side. So they use a big BNT equipment over there. They cut the terminal, so now there's no turnaround crew. That means whoever brings the train in is the same one who brings the train out. All to save money. Still, the line flopped. It's still running only on the weekends because the arbitrator wouldn't let them. Another OPTO rule prevented them from doing so. So even though they claim the program is a success, it's actually a failure. It didn't meet its goals. And just like the B line, little by little, some lines are being eliminated. Times Square Grand Central Shuttle is going to extend cars past the 300 feet rule, so that means bye-bye OPTO. So this is Al Ken saying so long for now, and don't forget to stop. Yes, it's Al Ken again. Something I wanted to bring up. Despite the fact the NTA said that the OPTO lines were safe, well, there was numerous incidents on board the OPTO train. But what wasn't reported was an incident on the West End Shuttle itself where everybody on the train got robbed, including the operator. But it never made the papers. Ironic, huh? That information came from the union itself, TWU Local 100. So this is not something I made up. You're not going to find it on Google or anything to get hush-hush. One other thing, I'm doing my best to try to eliminate all these OPTO lines. So one thing I would love to do is see if anybody has old videos or photographs of the OPTO operation from '96. Let me know if you have it, because I'd love to see it. So once again, South Kent saying so long for now. Don't forget to stop. Isn't that right, Eddie Allen?